The next section is the section that actually you have your offer accepted. So we are assuming that you did such a fantastic job and wrote such a great offer that your offer gets accepted right away. Now we start the formal loan process. So we're going to have one of our local bankers talk with you about how that works. Once we get the accepted offer, we immediately send the offer to purchase and all the supporting documents to your loan professional, and then they start working on that end of the transaction with you. So I'm going to have them talk with you a little bit about that, but we just want you to know that we do work hand in hand with them so that they have everything that they need to actually get your loan processed and keep the date for closing. And it's just part of what we do at the JWP group, because we consider ourselves working hand in hand with your lender, because we're all on the same team, and that team is your team to make sure you get the end result that you want, which is the home. The next section of the home buying process is the inspection process. Usually for the seller, it's the most worrisome part of the process because they don't know what your expectations are as a home buyer. Usually for the home buyer, for you, it is the most educational portion of the process because you get to learn a lot about the house. So what typically happens is when we write your offer, we usually give you 14 to 21 days to do all of your inspections. And for the typical home up in northern Wisconsin, that's a home inspection, a septic, a well, a water test, and more frequently, we're seeing a lot of radon testing and inspection. So we usually give you 14 to 21 days to do all of those inspections so that you have all the knowledge that you need for this home so that you feel really confident in what you're getting into. I usually prefer, if I can, that you actually be present for most of those inspections. If you don't live here and that's not possible, that's okay. The home inspectors up here are used to that, and they're happy to usually go over that inspection with you over the phone. They take a lot of pictures. They put a lot of language in there so that you can see exactly what's going on. But for me, it's usually, for the buyer, in my opinion, the most valuable tool in the process, because it teaches you not only what's going on with that home today, but what maintenance issues, what things you need to watch out for going forward. Hey, as of today, the roof looks good, but you might only have 5 or 6 years left on it. So when you buy this house, you might need to start to think about putting some money aside for a future roof. Or you might want to add gutters. It's fine right now, but these are some things that you might want to think about adding to the home once you own it. Typically costs, usually if you're going to do all of those inspections, you can get them all done for right around $1,000 or less. Typically in our marketplace, it's a buyer's expense. So you usually pay for all those inspections. And it's usually, I always call it your peace of mind payment. It's the money that makes you feel like you're not getting into what a lot of people like to be concerned about as a money pit, and that you're buying something that is going to stand the test of time. But anticipate about $1,000 out of pocket for that. Those aren't typically fees that are rolled into your loan like your closing costs. Those are fees that you pay right at the time that they do the inspections. It's not a pass or fail issue either. A lot of buyers think either the home is going to pass and I get to go forward and buy it, or it's going to fail and I get all my money back. And that's not really how it works. It's sort of an educational process where they're going to tell you, here's the status of the home. These are things which might be a defect, which are pretty significant, that harm the house, can harm the inhabitants of the house, like radon gas. It's bad for your health, or it could shorten the life of the property. Honeydew items like minor cracks in the ceiling from years of turning the heat on and turning the heat off, screws that might be loose on windows, things like that are maintenance issues and generally not considered a defect, so you usually can't get out of your offer because of it, but they're things that you should be aware of. So pass or fail isn't really how it works. It's more like educational, and there's defects or maintenance issues. And your realtor, your buyer's agent, should go over that inspection with you once you receive it, so you know exactly what everything is there. And then, of course, we can also do additional inspections. So if your home inspector says, boy, I think we should have somebody come and look at the chimney because it doesn't look like it's been used in 25 years, we can always add in that we want to send a chimney guy out there. But it's gives you information about the property. It will raise red flags. So if there's things out there that could be a concern that you need to look further at, like the chimney, the inspector usually tells you that information at the time. And it will also identify if there's any major problems. The biggest thing, the second biggest thing is you also want to make sure you're hiring a Wisconsin state certified inspector. It can't be Uncle Joe or Uncle Bob, who's a contractor who builds houses for a living, because if he's not a state of Wisconsin inspector, he can come through the house and go through a showing with you, but if there's anything that he doesn't like, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't do any follow-up paperwork. We can't say, Uncle Joe doesn't like this about the house, you have to fix it. They have to be a Wisconsin state licensed inspector. That's what the offer to purchase calls for. So we want to make sure that we hire the right people to go through as well. And again, your buyer's agent can help guide you through that process, give you names, you can interview people, however you want to do it. But to me, it's a very important part of the process, especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you don't have a lot of knowledge about a home and all of its components.